Okay, so earlier today, Take-Two and Rockstar revealed the final pre-order information for GTA 6, as you can see behind me on the PlayStation Network. There's two big things to take away from it right away. Its price, $80 for the normal version and $100 for the Ultimate Edition, and its format, which is digital only. GTA 6 will only be releasing digitally as far as I've announced right now, which means that it seems like the largest video game in history will have a digital only launch. So, my question from this is, are Rockstar and Take-Two trying to kill used games? Let's talk about this a little bit more. Well, let's get into the different versions. Again, we have $80 for the standard, we have $100 for the Ultimate Edition. The Ultimate Edition isn't doing anything crazy. You get to add a few cosmetics, some items, some exclusive weapons. There's a couple different types of shops. I believe there's an exclusive mod shop, there's an exclusive hair salon, there's an exclusive tattoo salon. I'm pretty sure the base game has other stores like those, but I think those specific ones are exclusive. If that's not the case, that's pretty fucked up if they're just locking out whole types of stores, so we'll have to see. It also looks like there's a couple missions locked out as well that'll only be in the Ultimate, but as some people have pointed out online, they did this with Red Dead Redemption 2, so this isn't the first time this has happened. The game is still coming out November 19th. Preloading for it is coming out November 12th, and the physical copies are also coming out November 12th, a week before launch, because the physical copy of the game will only include a code. So that way, the people who are buying the game physically will be able to preload the game with everyone else, and then a week later, everyone will be able to play the game. There has been some pretty obvious backlash to this. There are already two different video game retailers that are already refusing to sell GTA 6 until there is a disc version, which I think is fair. It seems like the current narrative that's going around to kind of defend Rockstar, to lick the boot a little bit per se, is say that there's no discs to prevent spoilers or leaks of GTA 6 early. Which, I mean, considering the amount of leaks that Rockstar has had to deal with in the past, isn't shocking if true, but I have some suspicions about that from the Take-Two side. In February, the Take-Two CEO said physical copies would not be delayed to prevent spoilers. Clearly, that was a half-truth, as he was right. It was not delayed again past its November 19th date, but we're not getting physical copies, so that's how they're preventing spoilers, is you can't leak the disc if there is no disc. In May, he also said that GTA 6 has a big physical component, which, if he's talking about the case, is a really shitty unless he's talking about something that hasn't been announced. Because if he's talking about the case, that's absurd to say that about the case. Like, what is it, gonna come with two maps? There are some games that come out and the disc only lets you download something, but you can still give that disc to other people. It's not a code that's connected to your account. There were some people who were nervous going into GTA 6's pricing announcement, concerned that the game would cost closer to $100 for its normal edition. Clearly, it seems like that was not the main concern. And I think the people that are up in arms about the price being $80 are a little unfair. Just to give context in the gaming world, Mario Kart World for Switch released at $80. Whether I think it's worth 80 or not, it did. Outer Worlds 2 was attempted to be released at $80, but Microsoft was essentially bullied into releasing it for 70. I think $80 for the largest video game ever made isn't like an unfair thing. I don't think the price is what's the issue here. And I think people were expecting the price to be what's the issue. I think this is a real curveball that not everyone saw coming. This is not the first example of used games or secondhand copies of games being cracked down on throughout the years. Some notable examples throughout the past decade or so. The 360 PS3 era, we had to deal with the online pass craze, where if you owned a game that had a multiplayer component and you sold it to a used game store to get credit for it, if someone else got that copy of it used, they would then have to give EA or whoever the publisher was another $10 or $15 just to be able to play online on top of having to buy the used game, which is absurd. And there's a reason that practice got shut down after a while. Most of the companies that were doing online passes in this time frame were very profitable. They weren't breaking, these companies still exist now. It's not like they shut down since having to close the online pass. Of course, there's the infamous Microsoft Xbox One E3 reveal in 2013, where they tried essentially eliminating the concept of used games by making physical games require digital ownership tied to your account and you could only transfer it digitally to another account if the publisher decided to allow it. If you wanted to give a game to someone else, you might have to pay a fee to be able to do that, which is crazy. Imagine having to pay a fee to sell a game you supposedly own. So have there been any other major AAA releases that are digital only? Not a ton. The most notable and the first big AAA digital only release was Alan Wake 2 in 2023. It did eventually get a physical version about exactly a year later. And Hellblade 2 also notably got a digital only release, but those are really like the two biggest examples. Okay. So maybe it's a budget thing. Maybe they're sensitive on budget. All right, let's look at the budget. So to give prior context for the budget, GTA 5 had a budget of around 265 million estimated. Red Dead Redemption 2 had a budget somewhere between 4 and 500 million. GTA 6 seems to be around 1.5 billion right now for its budget, maybe close to 2 by the time it's done. It is officially the most expensive piece of entertainment ever made. I believe the prior record would be, I think I just read that Jurassic World Dominion cost like 650,000 or something. Okay, how quick did it take them to make that money back? GTA 5 made $1 billion in its first 3 days, infamously, and it's made 10 billion since, 10 billion plus since. Although it is notable that a large amount of that is from the shark card microtransactions that are in GTA Online. And Red Dead Redemption 2 made 725 million in its first 3 days, and it's made 4 billion since. So it's like, okay, they're making profit on all of these by an extensive amount. So maybe physical games just don't sell anymore? Do physical games still sell? Yes, but there are some catches. US physical sales right now for video games are closer to all-time lows and all-time highs, but video game sales are closer to all-time highs and all-time lows. Why is this? It's because video game sales isn't measured in just disc purchases of a game, it's measured on any money spent towards a game or any piece of software. So the rise of things like free-to-play games and subscription-based games and live service games have started bringing in more money without giving physical, because you're not owning it. You don't own a live service game. You're just kind of there until it stops. So how many console games are sold physically? It's estimated around 20 to 25% of console games are sold physically. It varies depending on the console. Xbox is near 0% due to Xbox in general having the lowest sales out of any of the major consoles. One of my local game stores doesn't even get Xbox games new anymore because so little people buy them. And that's reflective here, as a majority of Xbox sales are Series S sales. About 75% or more are the digital-only Series S. So it makes sense that Xbox owners are not buying physically. Xbox also notoriously has Game Pass. PS5 is around 20% of all games are physical. Context, PS5 has sold about 3 times more than the Series S and X combined. Around half of all PS5s sold now are digital only, but in late 2024, the disc PS5 was about 80% of all the PS5s that were being sold. And the Switch has about 50% of all of its games being bought physically, which makes sense. Gamers are also more likely to buy physical for single-player narrative games over multiplayer. It's because with a multiplayer game, you are continuously playing it, where it doesn't really have an end, whereas a single-player game with a narrative has a start, a middle, and an end to it. So it makes sense that at some point you may want to not keep playing the game and try to get some value out of it instead of just letting it sit around and collect dust. So how big is the used game market? The used game market is around 3 to 4 billion, which is nothing to sneeze at, but the new game market is around 200 billion. So the new game market is definitely eclipsing the used game market, but that 3 to 4 billion is still sustaining a lot of secondhand merchants. Digital same-day releases for all games weren't even normalized until the Wii U in 2012. Sony followed suit later in 2012 with the PS3, again bringing all day one games to it digitally. With all that out of the way, let's go with the devil's advocate here I've seen online a few times today. What if the game is too big? Can the game be too big? Again, let's talk about it. Previous size of Rockstar games, GTA 6 launched at around 60 to 70-ish gigabytes. Now, post GTA Online, it's over 100, close to 110 gigabytes. Red Dead Redemption 2 released at around 120 gigabytes on console, but its PC version has 150 gigabytes. With that in mind, how big is that actually compared to what you can store in a disc? The PS5 and the Xbox Series X both support 100 gigabyte 3-layer Blu-rays. At the Series X at the start of its life seemed more restricted to the 50 gigabyte dual-layer Blu-rays, but both consoles seem to be able to support 100 gigabyte discs now. Notable recent examples of games that released with multi-disc: Baldur's Gate 3 released with 2 PS5 discs and 4 Xbox discs, and Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate released on Xbox with 3 different discs. GTA 5 launched with 2 discs back in 2013 on 360 and PS3. Its PC version actually required 7 discs, and the PC version came out after the console version did by about a year or so. Red Dead Redemption 2, even on PS4 and Xbox One, still had 2 discs. So even if GTA 6 was 200 plus gigabytes, as long as it's under 300 gigs, it would still only be 3 discs needed for the console versions, probably 2 install and 1 play instead of 1 install and 1 play like how it used to be. But again, that's feasible, that's doable. There have been 3 disc console releases before, so it is not unheard of, and it's happened in a recent time frame. So if they wanted to do it, they would. Maybe they're going to do a delayed physical release. Maybe they're going to have some kind of 3-disc PS5, 4-disc Xbox release. Doubtful, but I'm hoping that maybe we see a physical Ultimate release down the line. I'm not going to lie though, if there is a physical release that's going to happen, I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be one that's planned after the blowback to this announcement has happened and not a physical release that was conceptualized before that. Okay, so I'm in the process of editing this video right now, but I do have a little update. So earlier today, there was a rumor that came out from the same insider that initially leaked that the game was going to get a digital-only release, and just no one believed him at the time, has now come out and said that they believe that the game will get a physical release a month delayed at some point in December. This has not been confirmed yet. Rockstar hasn't seemed to officially comment on this yet, but if true, it means that there is a delayed physical version coming. Whether it's going to cost more, whether it's going to be Ultimate only, we have no idea. Whether it's going to be both on PlayStation or Xbox, no idea. But there is a current rumor going around that seems to be somewhat credible that there may be a delayed physical version coming. Now, if that was planned before the backlash of yesterday happened, I don't know, but I would be remiss if I did not mention it. So what does this mean? What does this mean if the game actually releases digital only and has no used support? So it means the game effectively is going to stay at a higher price longer, as the pricing is more directly controlled by the publisher. Think about how Nintendo games, first-party Nintendo games, always stay expensive for so long. It's because they hold the control a little bit more dominantly. They're able to control the pricing a little bit more. Even though a digital copy of a game is worth much less than an actual physical game, as a physical copy of a game at least has a measurable resale value, as it is able to be transferred to someone else. It is not bound to you or your account. To give an example of this, GTA 6, you spend $80 on it, you're going to get $0 back from it because it's a one-time use. Again, you pay $80 for it, you get the license for it as long as they let you have it, but unlike a disc version, they could take it from you at any point and you wouldn't get any money back. Whereas Wolverine, which comes out later in September, releasing at $70. Once I beat that, since it's a disc, I can get another 40 or 50 bucks back from that when I'm done with it, because it's a single player game, so you only need to play it like once or twice, and it's like, okay, trade it back in, could get like 40 bucks back. So that way I only had to spend like 30 to play the game. So, you know, it's kind of intrinsically, it's pretty obvious the value of a physical copy of a game over a digital copy, even if you aren't concerned about a digital storefront taking away your game, even if you aren't concerned about losing the digital version of your game, it is still beneficial to you as the consumer to own a physical version of it from the standpoint of how much value are you getting for the money that you are spending. Another problem with this, another problem with the digital only release is it means the physical copy is near pointless except if it has things in it. I'm hoping there is at least a map included in the GTA 6 case, considering I have every other GTA map hanging around the room right now, as every other GTA release has come with a map physically for its normal edition. It would be kind of insane if GTA 6 did not include a map, but it seems like they're going as bare bones as possible. Really hope that is not the case, though. What happens after this? Depending on how successful this is, or if they don't have to double back on this, AAA single-player games may now start to see an increase in digital-only releases as money lost from physical sales or having to make a physical copy of the game can be made back up for the higher margins you get by selling on digital due to the fact that you don't have to middleman the physical production of that game, so you make more money on that end. Again, the publishers and the developers make more money from digital game sales for sure, but the consumer gets more value out of a physical game, undebatably. I think if people were nervous about GTA 6 potentially costing $100 and making other games cost $100, I think they should be nervous now that GTA 6, the biggest game release of all time, being digital only, might be one of the first and strongest heavy nails in the coffin of used games and secondhand gaming, that it seems like the larger tech industry has been hammering down on for a while. It seems like Microsoft in 2013 maybe exposed what they wanted to do a little too early, force us all into digital. It seems like maybe that's something they could have gotten away with if they had waited, and 2013 was just too soon for it. And again, by killing off used games and secondhand game stores, it's moving consumers away from owning their games to versus you are in possession of a license for a game that could be revoked from you, your account can be banned and you can lose it. You can't ban a disc from someone, you know? And even if a company is deemed too big to fail, they could still fuck you over, you know? The issue might not be GTA 6 being taken off the PlayStation Store and then it being taken from your account. The issue might just be that they start fucking with your account and they don't let you play your shit anymore. So, okay, mini rant aside, what should they do? This is what they should do, in my opinion, from here. It's pretty clear that even a 2 to 3 disc version that releases a week or two late, so that way it can prevent any leaks are happening, make sure that if any discs were being leaked, that it would already be in the time frame where the digital game is released. I'm okay if they announced a slightly delayed physical release, but I think a slightly delayed physical release would be significantly better than a digital-only release. I think they should put their money where their mouth is. If they are telling the truth, if Rockstar and Take-Two are telling the truth about GTA 6 having a digital-only release to prevent leaks and spoilers, in my opinion, it seems like they should announce some kind of physical version that will come out in a short time frame after the digital version launches. If they don't do that, I think it's pretty clear what this actually is them trying to kill off secondhand used game sales, because that's money that they aren't making. Even though they have that 200 billion market, the other 3-4 billion market that gives us so much more value by being existed, they want that sliver too. Well, I wouldn't even mind paying more for a physical version. I would rather pay $100+ for a standard physical disc version of GTA 6 than pay 80 or even less than 80 for a digital version, just because if I spend 120 on a disc version of GTA 6 and I sell it at some point for 80 to someone else, I still paid less overall than if I would have had the digital only version by about half. That's a big fucking difference. So what if they don't do this? What if the game actually does just come out digital only? Well, in that case, there is zero reason to buy digital over physical. You may as well buy it for the same price and just have the physical case and hopefully the map and anything else that's in there. There's no reason to pay the same amount of money and get the digital version, especially if both versions are going to be the digital version essentially. In my opinion, if you're gonna buy it, you should buy it from a secondhand game store. If you're gonna pre-order GTA 6, pre-order it through some local independent game store near you, because they're not gonna see any sales from this and its used copies if this does stay a digital only release. And considering GTA 5 is one of the best selling video games of all time, it gives to say that it is also one of the best selling used video games of all time with all the physical copies it has in circulation. And I think I just want to end this on the note that I am mostly concerned that if used games are allowed to die off, besides just making it less accessible for everyone from a cost perspective to be able to play a game, poorer gamers and just lower income gamers will become increasingly boxed out as price control on newer games becomes stricter and more MSRP defined. Used game circulation helps decrease new game prices. Some of the only reasons Nintendo games ever come down in their new price is because of used copy circulation. Secondhand markets force more reasonable pricing than first-hand markets due to offering direct competition, and secondhand markets are more impacted by demand and market rates rather than the MSRP set by publishers. A publisher can sell a game for too much money, but if that game sucks and no one likes it, the used copy will eventually cost a lot less. I was expecting maybe to have some iffy thoughts about GTA 6's pricing. I was not expecting them to go a digital only release. I am concerned about the future of where this goes, and I really hope they announce some kind of delayed physical or delayed collector's edition that has a physical version. I am very concerned for the future of gaming, especially console gaming, if we are gonna move everything into digital only. Again, I think if there's any game to be concerned about making everything digital only, it would be the biggest video game launch of all time. Thanks for watching. I don't usually make videos about gaming or video games as much as I do about film, but used games are just such a near and dear topic to my heart that I thought I had to talk about this from this angle because I hadn't seen a lot of other people really put all this info together and present it like this. So yeah. Protect used games and protect independent game stores.